Excuse me. Went into the units for Essay 1 and rearranged it a little bit. Essay 1 topic was on the assignments for Essay 1, both in the rough draft length and final essay length. So I put a copy of it here to make sure that you would see it, even though it's posted to other places. So if you haven't started your essay yet, or you're confused about it, let's talk about it a little bit. In a world with environmental problems, people must learn about sustainability. Now, you all know that the book that you bought is called Sustainability. It has a lot of information in it and a lot of essays in it. It talks about how to live a sustainable life. And that's really important this day and time. And it's very down to earth. It's not up in a lot of people call it woo woo stuff. It's really important ways to live and successful ways. So we're going to talk about it. But you have to know, or people have to know, and you're going to tell them, you're going to explain. It's an explaining essay. So you'll define it, and then after you tell what it is, you will explain it. Okay? So the articles and the readings in chapter 1 will give you information, but it's just not putting out information and just letting it sit there. You have to give people plenty of information to help them understand it. And that's what explaining is. So if you say, so and so says, and you have a quotation, and you'll say, this means. So we'll say that your audience, we always have to think about audience, and audience has some ideas of what the environmental issues are today, but they don't really understand about sustainability. Perhaps you all didn't either. So that's what you're going to do. It'll be no less than 4 pages long. So this is an explaining. You're going to explain what it is. You're going to define it. And your topic is going to be, how do you make it easier for other people to understand what you already know from the information that you're reading. And your thesis statement will say sustainability is something, and then you're going to tell them what it is. The rough draft is due the 9th, and that's the coming up Friday, and then the final is the 23rd. Here is your just some ideas. Read the assignment, read the text in the book for the assignment, read the assignment again. And that's really important part of the assignment, to know what you're going to do. And if you hear sounds in the background, I'm sorry. That's just the normal family sounds around me. You also have other material to listen to and look at, and it tells you how to write this certain type of essay. Anytime you go into a career, you're going to be called upon to explain something. I don't care what it is, and you have to explain it clearly, okay, so that people will understand what it is. Uh, any classes you take, you're going to have to define things, no matter what it is, from mechanics to tech to history. As you write your rough draft, you need to put your in-text citations in as you go. If they're wrong, that will help me help you. I can correct them for you, tell them how to fix them. So try to do the best you can by following the information later. So if you don't have those in there, an attempt of them, I'm not even going to fool with looking at it because you didn't do your work first. You have to have an attempted works cited page. All you have to do is copy and paste the works cited page I gave you for the last assignment. Just put the correct page numbers in it and the correct names. Every time you use a different uh, essay, you put the different names in it. So in this case, you'll change that and you'll put your page numbers. You won't leave it with Carson because Carson may not be used. You're not using Carson's. The rubric, and I'm having problems with the rubric. I sent an announcement out with that. Still trying to figure that one out. But I am supposed to have help from the help desk soon. Edit. A rough draft must be edited. And I won't take any rough drafts. Here's where you submit it. It's a little slow. Here's your rough draft submission. If you don't know how to submit it, look at this. If you do, don't worry about it. And here's when I get this back and get this back to you, then you do it here. Here's the new rubric, new and improved. I'm trying to attach it to the essay. I'm not having much success. That's what the problem's been, but here's a copy. Here is how to do an exploratory essay. It tells you what it is, how to write it. Hold on a minute, it's not, you should be seeing. There it is. Scared me there a little bit. Here's your writing process. I'm not going to read it to you. Here's your pre-writing, and you know that I've already given you a topic. Here's how you draft it. Here's how you revise it. And we want to revise even rough drafts before I see it. And then here's your final editing. You proofread. Now, I'm going to give you all some extra points, and I'll explain that later. And we'll talk about that just a little bit later. There you go. There is a special structure, and in your introduction, we've talked a little bit in some of the classes about introduction, and if we haven't or you weren't quite didn't quite understand it, just follow this. So here's the first paragraph in your essay. Here is the information to help. It's like the background, the history, and then your thesis statement is always the last sentence in your introduction. Your body paragraph, and it takes as many, you're going to do 4 pages. The main idea of the paragraph, supporting evidence, and analyzing. You write an analysis of your evidence. Maybe you have more. You don't have to just have one. And then transitions, and then your conclusions. Here's a page you can print out, and maybe you can try to, if you like to use this, you can either copy it and put it on your laptop or computer, or you can print it out, and it can help you kind of set it up. Of course, there's just one, so that may be helpful. And then, of course, go into OWL, the Purdue Online Writing Lab. It gives more information on it as you go down to it. Now, the very bottom says a 5-paragraph approach, and that would be three pieces of evidence in three body paragraphs. Of course, now our papers are going to be longer than that, and you can't do four pages with just five paragraphs. So you're going to have more paragraphs than that to complete that. But if you have a very short writing from perhaps a history class or a psychology class, and you have to do an essay in a test, a five paragraph essay would work. In this case, not so much. I'm going to okay. You're going to see this is kind of the inside, the way I see the blackboard, a lot different from you. Now, after you have this information, you have two or three different, well, here's two little films, little here's a definition. Here is another one, and you can use that one. And here is a video lecture that I did about thesis statement, topic sensitive paragraphing. This is I did this for a previous class and made a comment to that specific class, but I think you'll get most of it. Here's your thesis and support folder. Here's your thesis statement. Here's a handout to help you. Checklist and checklist for writing assignments. This is somewhat like your rubric, but it won't be quite the same. But you can use this. We don't use St. Martin's. I might change that, but right now, just remember we don't do St. Martin's. This will help you edit. So if you take your checklist and you look at it and you say, is it formatted? Well, I don't know. Well, then you go back to the other units and say, did I do it right? Is your intro interesting? Okay. We aren't using the suggestions of St. Martin's because we didn't buy St. Martin's, but you'll follow the information that I gave you. It's your thesis, paragraphs indented, all these things. And you can print this out or use it on your screen. And you can say, no, well, okay, then go fix it. If you work together, you can hand this back and forth, and it's fine with me if you all work together helping edit, as long as it is a give and take and not just one person doing it. That would be plagiarism. So, again, I'm going to, here's your support. Again, Al. I like this because it shows how it should flow. Your thesis statement is your main idea. Then you support it. You support it, you support it, and you support it how many times you need it. I know I'm going over this fairly fast, but I have to keep it short to put it on YouTube. Here's your thesis statement. Topic is assigned. And it will tell you how to do those. You see, if you've looked at it before, I've moved these around trying to make them a little more logical. I'm not sure if I did. Your intro and conclusion here, but I wanted to talk just briefly about the in-class in-text citations. Deciding if you want to quote, I should say summarize. That's sorry when you need to edit more carefully. Summarize. So this tells you when to do that. Here is a PowerPoint for incorporating and integrating sources. Here's one, a video, and here's your handout. I'll put it up here. Okay. This tells about how to do this, and I've talked about this in one of the classes. If not, you could always put your questions up on the new discussion board. So in this case, try to put a new page up. And okay, there you go. Okay, so in any case, you're going to be introducing and then you want to put the last name here. And if you quote, you use your quote here. Okay. And then since you've said Jones, then you just give the page number. But if you didn't say Jones, and then you would put your quote here. No, it's not gonna do right. There he was. And then you would have to put the person's last name and the page number. Okay. Whoops. I'm paying attention, am I? And there. Okay. So in this case, you wouldn't have to put the last name, and you wouldn't have to put, in this case, you didn't put the name here, so you have to put it here. Okay? So that's a brief one. But all you have to do is make sure you make an attempt on your rough draft. I don't think I need that. And go back to the text citations. You have several ways to look at it, and you can always look up OWL and look out to do that there. Okay. And if I think of anything else that I think you all need before you turn in your final paper, I'll put it in there. Now I'm going to go look at one more thing, and then I'll let you all go. Here's your rubric that I just put a copy in. Let me show y'all something I'm not doing but it's easier. If you go to the link, if you right click, just open in a new window. Seems like it works. Well, there. Okay. Now, this is a little, let me get this. I don't think that's going to show. There you go. There. This is your rubric. And what it is, it has different things that are important and I'll be grading on. See, we have content, your organization and paragraphing, your punctuation and grammar, your formatting. Does it follow the assignment? The use of first, second, and third person, proofreading and editing, and plagiarism. Plagiarism will result if you get it off the internet, and I have a way of telling. I've got the program that will find that. I can read voices as you write it. So please, I'll just give you a 0. 2 zeros in any assignment will fail the class. That's just the way it is. So don't take a chance. But you can say, okay, do I have a lot of U's in here? Well, if you want to know how to find the U's, you go up here to find. You're in home. You find, you write U, and it shows all of the ones in your essay. And you change it to third person. And there's a little lecture about how to do that. Failing, this would be an F. Below average is a D. Average is a C. Above average is a B, and excellent is an A. Now you may not get everything in here a C. You may get a C here, but it may be you've got a lot of good organization, and then maybe you've got your grammar's good, but then your citations are bad. So what I do, I take all these and I kind of average them all together holistically, and then that's where your grade comes from. So this is exactly the same thing that I'll be using. If you have the old, see, I put one up. I couldn't see if anybody had gotten it, but I put an old one up and it just wasn't working for me, so I redid it, and this is the one that will be attached to your essay. Okay. That's all I can think of right now, and I'll I know what else. I go to the discussion board, and here's your new discussion board. It says questions anyone's. You don't have to subscribe to it. You don't have to write before you see anything. I'll just put I want to answer your questions. If you don't have any questions, I can't, I would be surprised. So then, so please ask. So when you go in and you see them, I'm going to the preview where you see it, and click on that, and there's mine. So all you need to do is create a thread and write it, and I'll come back and I'll answer it. If you don't have questions and then I see a paper that's like full of mistakes, I'm going like, I know this student didn't think this was right if he or she had read all the information I've given you. So it would be suspicious, wouldn't it, that they didn't take time to work on it. All right, so that's all I have to say today. I'm not the best at online lecturing, but I do try. So talk to you soon. Bye.